Hello everyone, my name is Anita Mongaka, Marketing Communications Specialist at the Greater Milwaukee Foundation, and today you are listening to On the Table MKE's Blue Table Talk with our guest, Jonnie Guernsey, Community Volunteer at St. Ben's. So Jonnie, share a little bit about your background and story and how you became involved with On the Table.
Okay, well my background here at St. Ben's is with the homeless people, and initially years ago, like many people, I felt really uncomfortable with homeless people. I would pass them by on the street and try not to make eye contact, and I was afraid of them basically. And then there was a time where I was walking with my dog on the Riverwalk downtown, and I wasn't really paying attention to my surroundings, and suddenly I was surrounded by homeless people. And all they wanted was to pet my dog. And so I became intrigued by who these people were, because they didn't seem to fit, you know, the stereotypes that we have about homeless people being dangerous or being mentally unstable or, you know, high or whatever. They weren't any of those things. They were just people. And so I became very curious about who they were, and eventually ended up a volunteer here. So.
Yeah. So you've participated in On the Table for the last 2 years,
Yes.
and this will be your third year.
Yes.
So talk about your experience and your journey with On the Table, how it started and how it's evolved over the last couple of years.
Okay. Well, I first heard about On the Table because a fellow from Greater Milwaukee Foundation stopped into my church to walk the labyrinth. We have a labyrinth on the floor. My church is Calvary Presbyterian on 10th in Wisconsin. And he said, oh, what a great space to host On the Table. And I had never heard of it.
Yeah.
And it was the first year that they were going to try it. And at first I was hesitant because I thought, it's just going to be another one of those gatherings where people talk about stuff and then nothing happens.
Yeah.
But he said, you can make it what you want it to be. And so I invited, I decided on the topic of homelessness because we have a lot of homeless people around the church, and my interests that I just described, and I invited a couple of our state representatives and a senator, and one member of the media was there, and also recently homeless people, social workers, and people serving the homeless, and members of my congregation, and we gathered together to talk about what we could do, some small step that we could take, a realistic thing.
Yeah.
And that all continued until the second year that I was doing On the Table here. I had it here in the meal hall at St. Ben's.
Yeah.
So then we had an even mix of members of Calvary, currently homeless people this time, and the Capuchins, and that was an amazing point of view. So the step that the church took was to help set up the apartments for St. Anthony's. We helped collect things that they needed, and then we made those donations along with many other people in the city who did that. And then we actually physically went in and set up some of the apartments.
Oh, wow.
So that was a really great day.
Yeah.
And for me personally, what I've done is I have continued to come here once a week to the meal program to eat with the guests. And I sit with them and talk with them, and I've made friends with quite a few of them. And from there, I guess the only thing I could offer was my writing skills. And so I started writing these stories, and eventually did post them on a website that people can access and read stories about these people.
Yeah, I think that's really great. You know, On the Table is usually the first step, right? And so we encourage people to take action after their conversations. And so it's great to hear that you started a blog and have been writing about your experience. And so talk a little bit more about your blog. What kind of perspective do you write from?
Okay, well, I actually, oddly enough, write from my perspective. I don't interview the people at all, because that's not a natural mode of communication, but rather just start listening to their stories and trying to translate that into something that will make sense to people, and also try to paint the human side of who they are.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I try not to lecture about it, but I sprinkle in little things about where they get services or what they go through on a daily basis, because they actually are very amazing, resourceful people, and many of the people that I meet are good-hearted people that help each other out. Yes, I do see, some of the people that have issues, but, there's a lot of really interesting and good people here.
Yeah.
So those are the stories that I try to present.
Yeah. I loved how personal you got and how I felt very connected to the people you met, even just through reading it. It has that personal touch that, is similar to On the Table, right? You get to engage face to face with people that sometimes you may not have conversations with. And so what has collaboration looked like? Like, who else have you had the opportunity to engage with or partner with?
Through on the table.
Through On the Table, yes.
I think I pretty much mentioned everybody.
Okay.
I feel really good that we went all the way to the state legislature, and also connecting them with people that are on the streets. To bring those groups of people together, or people who normally wouldn't meet each other on a course of day-to-day life,
right.
and to have. The feedback that I keep getting from the people that I write about here is that it's odd. It's like your motto, your voice matters. They say, all of a sudden my voice matters, and what I'm saying means something to someone.
That's awesome.
And I give them copies of the stories, and they really like it.
Yeah.
So I do change their names to keep their identity private, but they really do feel heard.
So what's one thing that you would want people to know about homelessness in Milwaukee?
I think, first of all, I would like to say there is an army of people helping all the time and doing really, really good work. Many, many agencies. I wish I could name them all, but I especially have a fondness for the Capuchin Community Services here at St. Ben's. They do phenomenal work. They have, besides the meal program, they have St. Anthony's, and they have a couple other agencies where they serve people all the way from getting your birth certificate so you can get your ID, so you can get jobs. They help with job training, clothing, housing, it's just, they're amazing. So that's one thing. And I guess the other thing I would like people to know is what I've learned is not to be so afraid of people that you don't know and you don't understand. Just take a second to maybe say hello, or it doesn't mean you have to give money or respond to panhandling, because that's uncomfortable, but just to maybe take a second and acknowledge that they're people, and a lot of these people got here through circumstances that really were beyond their control. So
awesome. Okay, so for this part of the conversation, I'm going to have you pick one question out of our little fancy cup here, read it out loud, and then answer it for the audience.
Any question.
Any question.
If I don't like it, can I put it back?
You can pass, yes.
Okay, all right. Oh my goodness, what do you think the secret to a good life is? I'm going to get choked up. I think that people need to make connections. I think that coming into this process that I've come into, meeting the people here, has had obviously a profound impact on me, and has given me a different purpose for what I'm doing with my life right now. I've always been an educator, and now all of a sudden I'm something else. And it gives me a reason to stay involved and stay a part of things here in Milwaukee. It's a really good thing to connect with people.
I love that, and I agree. I definitely agree.
Thank you.
And that's what On the Table does. And so I'm glad that was your experience, and I'm glad that you will be back again, this year to host the table. And the impact that you're having is really great in the community. So thank you, Jonnie.
Thank you.
So that's it, folks. Thank you again to Jonnie for participating in our conversation. So if you want to get interested in On the Table MKE, please visit onthetablemke.org to either register to participate in a table conversation or to host your own table. All right, thank you guys.